Sarah was down to her last $20, no savings. No backup plan and rent already overdue. That money was supposed to be her final meal until payday. The only thing standing between her and an empty stomach. But when she noticed a grieving family at a small restaurant, mother quietly wiping tears while their two children stared at untouched plates, something inside her wouldn't let her walk away. Without thinking about the consequences, Sarah used every single dollar she had to pay for their dinner and slipped out unnoticed, believing her small act of kindness would disappear into the night. She was wrong. The very next morning at exactly 8:03 a.m., a sleek black car pulled up outside her tiny house, and a high-powered lawyer in a sharp suit stepped out holding a thick sealed envelope. His knock wasn't gentle, it was urgent, deliberate. When Sarah opened the door, he spoke just for chilling words. "You've been served." Her heart dropped as she stared at the legal notice in her trembling hands, unaware that what was hidden inside that envelope would either shatter the fragile life she was barely holding together or transform her future in a way she never could have imagined. Sarah had mastered the art of surviving on almost nothing. A single mother working double shifts at a fading roadside diner on the edge of town. She measured her life in tips, late notice, and silent prayers whispered while wiping down cracked vinyl booths. The neon sign outside flickered more than it glowed, much like the hope she fought to keep alive. One rainy evening, she noticed a family dressed in black seated near the window, a mother with hollow eyes and two teenagers. Frozen in shock, their food sat untouched, while the bill on the table seemed to grow heavier by the minute. Sarah didn't ask questions. She simply understood that grief can paralyze even the simplest acts, like reaching for a wallet. So she quietly swiped her employee discount card and covered their meal, knowing the money had been meant for her electricity bill. That night, her apartment went dark, but somewhere, a grieving family went home with one less burden. What Sarah didn't realize was that someone had been watching. In the corner booth sat Arthur, a quiet, elderly, regular Everin simply called Old Man Arthur. For years, he had occupied the same seat, nursing his coffee and memories of his late wife. Sarah had always treated him with a tenderness that went beyond customer service his cup before he asked, listening patiently to stories she had heard a dozen times, slipping him a slice of pie on difficult anniversaries. To her, it was nothing extraordinary. To him, it was everything. Just days after she paid for the grieving family's dinner, Sarah received a final eviction notice. The red letters blurred in her hands as she calculated what she didn't have. Kindness, it seemed, was a luxury she could no longer afford. Then came the morning that changed everything. A sleek black sedan rolled into the diner's gravel lot, looking painfully out of place beside rusted pickup trucks. A sharply dressed lawyer stepped out, briefcase in hand, scanning the building as though confirming an address. He asked for Sarah by name and requested to speak with her privately. Her heart pounded. Had she broken a policy? Was she being sued? In a world where one mistake could ruin her completely, fear wrapped around her ribs like a vice. The lawyer introduced himself as Marcus and explained that he represented the estate of Arthur, who had passed away quietly in his sleep days earlier. Sarah's breath caught. Marcus then unfolded a document, Arthur's last will and testament. Within it was a peculiar clause, a final act of unprompted generosity, witnessed but unacknowledged, would determine the heir to his estate. Arthur had seen her pay for the grieving family's meal. He had called it proof that her kindness was not performance, but character. The diner, the land beneath it, and the substantial trust fund had been signed over to her name. Sarah wept not because of the money, but because someone had truly seen her. In the months that followed, the diner was restored, its neon sign shining brighter than ever. Sarah transitioned from exhausted employee to proud owner, mentoring young workers who reminded her of herself, tired, overlooked, but capable of extraordinary compassion. One afternoon, the grieving family returned. They sat at the same booth, only this time their shoulders were lighter. On their table was a small brass plaque that read, "Paid in full." Sarah caught their eyes from across the room and smiled. In a world racing toward automation and transactions measured in clicks and codes, Sarah learned that authentic human connection remains the rarest and most valuable currency of all. And sometimes, the smallest act of kindness writes the greatest legacy.